I tried ignoring Abu Dhabi real estate, and here's what happened. About a year and a half ago, I was looking to rent an Airbnb on Saadiyat Island. Beachfront, premium, and cultural district. And guess how many options I found? Two. One studio at around $250 per night, one two-bed at roughly $350 a night. That was it. I thought maybe it was a temporary issue, so I checked again recently. Still only 2 units on Mamsha Al Saadiyat beachfront, and only 8 in the wider area. That's when it clicked. This isn't just scarcity, this is structural undersupply. And that's exactly when I started paying attention to Abu Dhabi off-plan opportunities. Today, I'll break down why supply dynamics are different in Abu Dhabi from Dubai, why end users dominate this market, which areas are outperforming, and why more investors are quietly shifting their capital towards UAE's capital. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. When you look at short-term rental platforms, in premium Abu Dhabi locations such as Mamsha Al Saadiyat, extremely limited inventory, very high nightly rates, and very low optionality. That tells you one thing: there isn't enough stock. This isn't just about Airbnb. It reflects a broader issue in Abu Dhabi. Limited ready beachfront supply, high owner-occupied concentration, strong wealth base, fewer speculative investors compared to Dubai. This creates a more stable, less volatile resale environment. If we compare Abu Dhabi versus Dubai, there is a different market DNA. Dubai is about high transaction volumes and first launches. It's very investor-driven with large off-plan pipelines. Abu Dhabi, on the other hand, is more conservative. It is very end-user heavy who actually prefer townhouses, villas, and larger units. Slower supply cycle, and definitely very important point is the higher income per capita. Abu Dhabi is actually wealthier per capita than Dubai. And that matters because when most buyers are end users, resales are more stable. Less panic selling happens in the market, less speculative flipping, of course. Townhouses and villas especially become very good defensive assets. Now let's talk about the areas where investors are watching closely. Let's talk about the real stars and start with Saadiyat Island. Saadiyat isn't just a residential zone, it's a cultural powerhouse in Abu Dhabi and in UAE overall. It's home to Louvre Abu Dhabi, Guggenheim Museum, Zayed National Museum, which recently opened, and it's a cultural district master plan. It's beachfront, and most importantly, it's ultra clean water. It looks absolutely like the Maldives. The density is very low, luxury villas around, but limited beachfront apartments, and that's exactly why Aldar, their main developer, is building this master plan with many more apartments upcoming. End users are absolutely loving it, and that's why investors are realizing if supply remains tight and demand grows, prices adjust upward. The residential engine, which is our second place, is Reem Island. And Reem Island is arguably the most established residential area and investment zone in Abu Dhabi. It obviously has waterfront views as many of the Abu Dhabi islands because they are basically surrounded by water overall. There are many islands there. It has many high-rise living with amazing, spectacular views and strong rental demand. And by the way, it's just opposite Al Maria Island, which is a financial and retail hub, home to the Galleria Mall, which is arguably the most prestigious mall in the UAE and definitely my favorite, Cleveland Clinic, a very reputable clinic there, and the financial district. Reem plus Al Maria create a very strong ecosystem. Live, work, and shop within minutes. I recently helped a client source a unit in Reem Island, and I can tell you demand is real. And that is because it took us quite a few good searches before we actually ended up with the right unit because there wasn't much supply. I was actually genuinely shocked. Nevertheless, the next island is Yas Island, which is the entertainment magnet and the entertainment capital of the UAE, at least for now. Yas Island includes the Ferrari World, Warner Brothers, Yas Marina Circuit, Yas Mall, and most of the UFC events are also happening there. It attracts mainly end users and families for the residential side, but also, most importantly, a lot of international visitors. So definitely, if you will be investing in there and renting on Airbnb, I think you will expect a pretty decent demand. Townhouses and villas here are particularly interesting. It's a strong lifestyle-driven demand, but there's not much supply. So which are the developers driving Abu Dhabi right now? The main powerhouse, of course, it's Aldar. Aldar is to Abu Dhabi what Emaar is to Dubai. Strong track record and government backing, large master communities. Other notable developers, especially on Saadiyat, there is Imkan, there is also Bloom and Reportage, and I've actually mentioned most of the Abu Dhabi developers in one of my recent videos from last year, so check it out. But generally, Aldar's launches usually sell out really quickly because the supply is structured and the end users dominate. Or at least the resales are really preferred by the end user, so the investors know ahead. Payment plans remain pretty attractive even compared to the neighboring Dubai. So why investors are moving right now? Here's what's happening. Well, first, Dubai is actually maturing. Offline prices in Dubai have obviously escalated. Some segments are arguably overheated. And while the cash flow is still very good in Dubai, and I would probably prefer Dubai still to Abu Dhabi, investors are now looking for stability and scarcity, and most importantly, quality over time and over hype. Abu Dhabi clearly offers some things that Dubai won't, which is the clearer beaches, amazing waterfront. And while Dubai also has amazing waterfront, the beaches in Abu Dhabi are on a completely different level. There are more owner-driven communities, less speculation, and as I mentioned, larger unit sizes. And perhaps the biggest USP, it's not overbuilt yet. Unlike Dubai, Abu Dhabi's off-plan is more measured. Developers are adjusting the payment plans, targeting the end users and some investors for the high-end projects, specifically on Saadiyat and around, and they're pricing it more realistically, while still not being cheap. And I would even argue that some projects are even more expensive than in Dubai, because resale supply is limited, especially in prime zones. Off-plan becomes the entry mechanism. If you want exposure to Saadiyat, Yas, Reem, or Al Maria Island, off-plan may be the only viable entry option at scale. So what's my personal view about it? I'm seeing more clients asking, should I diversify into Abu Dhabi, or should I even start with Abu Dhabi instead of Dubai? And that's not because Dubai is bad, but because Abu Dhabi feels under-discussed, and people do notice that. It feels less hyped, and it feels structurally safer long-term, although I would argue that there are many great projects in Dubai as well. The thing is, in Abu Dhabi, there is not as much choice, so it's a bit easier to even analyze some projects, although again, I might contradict myself here by saying that in Dubai you actually have all the data available, so you can actually check, and it also becomes easier to analyze the projects. But at least if you know the developer's reputation, the track record in Abu Dhabi, you can see the trends and you can spot which ones will perform or even outperform. And when you combine waterfront living, cultural master plans, and strong local wealth, it becomes very interesting. If you're considering Abu Dhabi or comparing it to Dubai, this is exactly where structure analysis matters. I started the Gore Advisory, a UAE licensed investment advisory from Dubai, to offer one-to-one strategy analysis and guidance, comparing rental yields, analyzing off-plan versus ready options, modeling mortgage scenarios, and stress test downside risks. Most importantly, we structure the investment around your goal, not around what a broker is trying to sell, because we're not an agency. We are exclusively working as investment advisors. And if you want to explore Abu Dhabi properly, I'm happy to break it down with you. So book your first call in the links in the description, and let's get into day analysis. So to wrap it all up, Abu Dhabi isn't loud. It's not chasing the headlines. It's more like a quiet money kind of type. And that's why the capital is quietly shifting there. When serious money moves quietly, that's usually when you should start paying attention. Nevertheless, invest smart, stay ahead, and as always, bringing you the unbiased truth in real estate. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. It really means the world, and subscribe to see more.